Hi, I'm Rick Burnley, editor of Kayak Angler magazine, and I'm here today with the Tarpon 120 that we reviewed in the winter issue of Kayak Angler. And the reason we reviewed this in the winter issue is, usually we review new boats or boats that are coming out, but it was the winter issue and some of the newer boats hadn't come out yet, and we thought, let's look back at some of the classic boats that are still out there and still on the water, still available, and still just as good as they ever were. And that, of course, brought us to the Tarpon 120. This is one of the Tarpon series, is one of the original fishing kayaks. Wilderness Systems came out, when people first started kayak fishing with these sit-on-top kayaks designed with space in the back for a crate and rod holders and everything else. And a lot of times one of the first things they come up with are some of the best things they come up with. And this Tarpon 120 has been no exception, and it's still a popular kayak today, especially with folks that do a lot of open water paddling, and also guys that are just recreational paddling, looking for a easy boat to add to your quiver of kayaks. And the reason is this Tarpon 120 is 12 feet 3 inches long, it's 30 inches wide, it only weighs 63 pounds. And what that translates to is a boat that can really paddle and cover some distance, but still remain maneuverable when you get in tight to be fishing. It's only 12 feet long, so it's still easy to turn and to maneuver. But the standout feature on the hull of this boat is a long straight keel with channels down the middle of the hull, and that provides for a boat that stays straight very easily for such a short boat. So this is a great boat to cover some distance. No worries taking it on open water. Another thing that makes it a good distance open water boat is the kind of classic molded in seat. Many sit on top kayaks today, of course, are coming with the frame seats that are elevated up off the deck, and they're comfortable and they're easy to fish out of, but they also make a boat less stable. And what Wilderness Systems has done with the Tarpon 120 is they've kind of put a hybrid seat in here. If you remember back in the day, they used to just have a molded in seat well and then a seat back that was a piece of plastic that was kind of shaped this way, but just kind of bolted onto the hull of the kayak, or to the deck of the kayak. And that was great because it kept you low to the water, but it wasn't very comfortable, and a lot of times you were in the water because your kayak would get water in it and you end up sitting in water. So what they've come up with are like hybrid of a raised seat, and this is the Air Pro Max Phase 3 seat, and it is actually elevated just a little bit off of the seat pan, off of the cockpit, but still low enough that it keeps your center of gravity low, keeps you out of the wind a little bit more, and but out of any water that might collect in the seat pan. And also it lifts your legs up a little bit so you're in a more comfortable seating paddling position, and it also adds a little bit more padding. This is like a mesh padded cover here over top of a frame, so there's a lot of ventilation. Same with the spine of the seat. It's honeycombed, so with a padded mesh, so there's really good ventilation there too. And a light, low profile seat, perfect for long distances and fishing open water. Another thing that the Tarpon's always famous for, and it's gone through several incarnations, and this is now they've added this locking sealed day hatch in the cockpit, and this is a convenient place. Tarpon owners love this thing. It's a convenient place to throw your keys and throw your wallet or your camera or whatever, keep things close at hand. And now they've made it with this locking waterproof seal, so there's no chance it's going to leak. And then there's also inside here, there's gear storage areas with this mesh rubber netting over top of it. They included their foot pegs that lock into place, giving you plenty of, again, open water boat. You're going to be paddling hard. You want to have your feet solidly planted on these foot pegs to give you the most efficient paddling position and power. And these foot pegs are classic Tarpon foot pegs. They stay where you put them. Another hatch in the bow, for storing fishing rods or your camping gear and stuff like that. In the stern, they've got a tank well large enough for a full-size crate, or say 35 quart cooler, or even full-size 5-gallon buckets, what have you. That's a full-size tank well in the back, so plenty of room back there for storage. Gear tracks all over the place, bungees all over the place, paddle holders. We always like handles on the side of the kayak as well, make it easier to transport. And you know, this is a classic. It's gone through some changes in its day, which we would have hoped to have, but they've all been for the good. And now also offered in a Tarpon 120X package, which offers even more efficient features on it. But we took this out and tested it out and love it just as much as we did back then. I almost bought this kayak when I first started kayak fishing. It probably would have changed my whole entire trajectory of kayak fishing, and I would still buy it today. It's a great boat and easy on you on the water, functional, never have to worry about it, and it's what's kept it a classic for all these years and for years to come. I'm Rick Burnley from Kayak Angler Magazine, and you're hooked up.